Hi everyone, this is Vaibhav and I'm a product designer who lives in Dubai and I'd love to keep talk about things regarding design, product, business, philosophy or just some random travel things that I do. You can just have a look at my other videos also to get my idea and today there is a very interesting thing that I really want to talk about and it is about the importance of data for designers. So there's a very preconceived notion there in the industry or even among the people that the designers are only and only going to use the right side of their brain, which is the creative side of them, right? But to be honest, this is not the true story when you're working in a company. If you're a designer, it is equally important for you to have your active left brain side, which is the analytical side, because that is the only major thing which differentiates design and art. So the first question that might come into your mind is what is data? How do you define a data? So to be very very honest, it is just any piece of information. There are many people who think that data is just number, but that is not true. Even a qualitative side of things is also data. So we can kind of divide the data into two kind of things, which is the qualitative data and the quantitative data. Now if I were to give you some examples in the product industry, or you can say in general life also. So some of the examples for the, let's say, qualitative data can be the research insights, the customer experience queries, or you can say NPS data, which basically you get the word format, like the text format. So these are some of the qualitative insights or qualitative data that you have. Some of the examples for the quantitative data can be the conversion rate, bounce rate, or drop off basically. So how what exactly these things are, we'll just understand in the coming part of the video, but you just need to understand that data is not just numbers, right? Okay, so the second question that might be there in your head is, why do we even need the data, right? So see, we are living in 2025 now, and we kind of, all of us kind of understand that how important data is in order to take good decisions, right? You need to understand, like, when you're employed as a data as a product designer, as a product manager in any of the companies, you're not just being paid to make things, you are being paid to solve problems, you are being paid to, let's say, take the right decisions. Now in order to take the right decisions, you need to have the complete idea of all the things around you, and for that, data is the most important thing. Because obviously, if the company just wanted you to take some random guesses, they would have had maybe simply taken a subscription of some astrology app. To be honest, why would they hire you? They need you because they want that people should take data backed decisions, some logical decisions. The decisions should have some rational, and data is something which helps you out in that. If you are doing even a single pixel change on your app, there needs to be a data for that. Why are you doing it? And what is the data that you have which says that if you do this thing, you can see some improvement in some other data. That is why it is very important that why data is required. You need to understand this thing if you are really getting into this field of product design or product management. There is actually a very very good video on YouTube, which is basically a TED talk from one of the designers from Netflix, and they are kind of helping you understand how designing is very similar to conducting a scientific experiment. Because when you are conducting a scientific experiment, you kind of build a hypothesis, and then you have a theory of that maybe if you will do this thing, this might happen, and if we do this, this might happen, this can be the outcome. And then you actually experiment that thing in the real physical world, and then you get the results out of that. Based on that, you again reiterate, go to your chalkboard, like a blackboard, you chalk out the plans, you find out what were the, you can say, gaps in your theory. That is the same thing that you do in design also, or in the product basically. So I'll just put the link of that video. You can maybe also find it in the I button if I would put it there. Otherwise, you can just find it in the descriptions. Okay, so what should be your strategy of using the data? If you see the product design or design process of any of the things, it is basically just a double diamond structure. You can see it on the screen right now, that how basically when you're on the problem understanding or proper problem definition phase, you want to research more, you want to understand more about the data, you want to understand more about the users, the business, the company in general, just so that you can gather all the important things in front of you and understand what are the major chunk of problems that you even want to work on, out of which you'll just make the how might we's and other things. If you really want to understand more about this process, I had made a detailed video about it also, which is what do product designers do. So you can just have a look at that video also. That would be really very helpful for you, because that will work as a context, pre-context of this particular video also. So This is one thing, the research part, and then is the design part when you start to kind of implement your hypothesis things and then you start to test those things out. So this is a process, and in each part of this process, how exactly and what kind of data is being used is something that we are going to understand now. Okay, so the first and foremost important part is the research part. Now, in the research end, you need to understand that you need to use the qualitative and quantitative data interchangeably. You cannot say that you will only look out for quantitative data first and then qualitative data, or you cannot also say that you will see the qualitative data first and quantitative next. It will go in parallel. So there can be two ways. So the first one is hypothesis brought by qualitative evidence and validation and further research done by quantitative evidences. Let's just understand it more. Okay, so let's just have this scenario. User interviews revealed that new users felt overwhelmed by the number of steps in the onboarding process. It's a very simple example. You have an onboarding process and you just got to know from a user interview that people felt very overwhelmed by the number of steps which are there on the onboarding. Now, what is the qualitative hypothesis from this? The qualitative can be that long onboarding process is affecting the retention of the user. Got it? This is something which is clear till now. Now, how do you find the evidence of this thing, or how can you have the further knowledge of this thing? This is where the quantitative intern will come into help. So, checking the Google Analytics data, people are generally dropping off after 40% or 50% of the onboarding process, right? So, you got a validation that it is not false whatever user interview has found out. It is actually backed by the quantitative data that it is true that people are actually dropping off after 40 or 50% of the onboarding. So you can actually just write this down as a problem statement that how might we make the onboarding process more concise or more short. So this can be one of your problem statements that you want to work on. The second one is hypothesis brought by quantitative evidence and validation and further research done by qualitative evidences. Let's just take the example of this. So the scenario is analytics data shows that 60% of the users were abandoning their carts at the payment stage. Okay, so now whenever you are in any of the payment stage or the checkout section of any of the e-commerce websites, you would see that there are certain steps that you need to complete while you are checking out or you're completing the order. Okay, so analytics has found that 60% of users were abandoning their carts at the payment stage. Okay, this is the hypothesis that you have got. The quantitative hypothesis is that cart abandonment occurs majorly at the payment section. So you might have had found that out of all the steps in the checkout section, payment section is the part where people are dropping off. Now, what will be the qualitative evidence and further knowledge of this? While doing the user interviews, when asked what was a major issue for the users while they checked out, they mentioned that they are unsure about the additional charges, taxes, shipping fees, right? So you got to know that it is not like people are dropping off from the payment section. But what is the reason of dropping off from that? Is because they are not able to understand the shipping fees or taxes. So this validated your hypothesis and also gave you the further knowledge, right? So your maybe how might we get me from this that how might we help users understand better about the other fees like taxes or shipping fees, or can there also be a way that we can let's say remove it also? Maybe that can also be a possibility. So this is the second part of this thing. Perfect. Now once you have done your research, you have got the problem statements, and now you are kind of making the designs, and while you want to test your designs, there is again the data side of the things that you would like to see. Okay, so on the design part of your process, define what data metrics you really want to solve for. Call it success metric. Okay, so ultimate goal generally for most of the companies is revenue. The area of the problem for the problem statement that we just discussed was the payments. Okay, so area of the problem is payment, and the success metric will be higher success rate of payments. Okay, now supporting metrics can be lower drop off at each level. So it is not just that I am looking for the more and more payments. I am also looking out that there should be lesser drop offs on each step of the process also. Okay, so while doing the qualitative user testing, check if people are still being stuck at the problem you found, and also set events on the button to check after the launch where users click and how many users click there. Where do they go after this? So the first part is that when you're testing your designs, for example, you just made a solution of this payments problem, right? Now when you are just showing it to some of the users, just ask them or maybe just observe, were they still stuck at this payment section? Were they able to understand the shipping charges that you were trying to solve, right? So just check that. At the same time, when you are doing the testing of this design after development, just set the events. Now this is something that many people might not understand, but when you are testing your product, you can set events on each of the section of the screen by the developers. So when you will get your solution live, when the users are using your design solution live on the app, you can track on which button people are clicking, where are they going after this, and what is the flow of them. You can just see this in the Hotjar also, and Hotjar is also a software. You can read more about it, or if you want me to make a detailed video about it, just do let me know about it in the comments. So I think like this can be a little difficult for some people to understand, but I'm just again giving you a surface level information about this. Okay, so that is how the data is going to be helpful for you in this part of your design process. Perfect. Now the best case scenario is that you have tested your design with the users, you have got some of the validations, you got feedbacks, you did iterations based on that, and now you have launched your design. Your design is now live with the users. Now where is data going to be helpful in this thing? So after launch, test your data and analyze. The ultimate goal achieved, let's have a question mark on that. The ultimate goal achieved was revenue increased or not. Okay, if revenue increased, it's a perfect thing. If not, then check that is success metrics improved or not, because now you need to understand if revenue is not increasing, what is the reason for that. So you need to check like the problem that you were trying to solve, is that thing solved or not. So did you observe higher success rate of payments or not? If you did, okay, there can be some other reasons, you can investigate for that. If not, then you can start to look out for the supporting metrics improved or not, which is, are users still dropping off at previous stages? Did the drop off increase somewhere or decrease somewhere else? It is possible. For example, there are 5 screens in your checkout, right? People might not be dropping off at the payment section now, but they are maybe dropping off at some other screen. This should technically not happen because the entire design remains the same for that particular section, but it is still sometimes possible that this thing can happen. So you can just have a look at it. And then is, what are the users doing now? For example, if you see that even if the people are not still they are not understanding the payment section, what are they even doing? Where are they clicking? Just check the Hotjar and UXCam for that. UXCam and Hotjar are some of the services which help you have a look at the real-time user activities. Okay, use Google Analytics events, check where the users are clicking, what are they going after, where are they going after, and why. Now, why this data is important? If everything went well, nobody would ask you a question. But if something went wrong, your test was not successful, you really need to look into like what did not work out. Where was your hypothesis wrong? That is why all of these things are required. Now talk to the users who used your product and ask where did they fail and why they failed. Results from this will drive your iteration, how much successful you were and where did you fail. Again, as I just told you, it's an experiment. It's just very exactly similar to your scientific experiment. You need to check where you are failing, why you are failing, just so that next time when you hit your experiment, you know where do I need to not make the same mistakes, right? Amazing. That is all which was about this video. As I would again say that this video is kind of can be a level 2 or level 3 kind of video. Many new designers might not be able to understand what I am really speaking about. This can just be a precursor for you for the days when you will be a senior designer or mid-level designer in any of the companies. So just brace yourself for that, and please just go through that what do product designers do video, because you will get a precursor for this particular video. Because if you do not understand the process of doing things, you might not be able to understand some of the things over here. So there are some very difficult you can say terminologies that I use, like USCam, Hotjar, drop-offs, or these kind of things. I am really looking out to make a detailed video about it also, so just let me know if you want to have that. And that is majorly. Or if you want to have a detailed article of this, I have written a detailed article of this on a Medium. You can have a look at that also. And there is a cheap sheet kind of thing, which is the entire flow that I created. You can just have a look at that also, so that would also be helpful to you. If you really like this video, please consider liking this video and also subscribe to this channel. It is really very helpful for me. And as I just said, if you have any doubts, just comment on this video. In addition to that, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, I keep posting similar things and also some memes and some other things that I see while I travel to the different parts of the world. So just follow me on LinkedIn. That you can and so that you can have a look at those things also. And you can even follow me on Medium also, because I keep posting these articles on Medium. And if you want to connect with me face to face, or you can have a one-on-one call with me, just book a call on TopMate. There's a very good news about this thing, because now I have made almost all of my calls free of cost, so you can just book a free call with me. And because I was just seeing that some people were not able to get in touch with me because there was some money involved in this thing, and I was anyway not earning too much out of this, so I have made the calls free for now, so you can just connect with me one-on-one. That is majorly all. I will just come up with some new video after some days, and till then, bye bye.